Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to What's the 411 News. And today, with Reparations Month, we got the Real Reparations Movement, Part 13. All right, we heading to the end. We at Part 13. We got 2 more to go. All right, and we're not going to hold you any longer. We're going to go ahead and roll that video so y'all can get this information. All right, so let's go ahead and roll that.
All stats. Mr. Greg Marcel.
Look at my racks, feel like Serena went from the backs. Pull like Jim, waves on string, and I rock teams with the tech.
DC, where are you? SC, where are you? All right. All my people, give yourselves a round of applause for being here today. So we here, but we ain't arrived. And I'm gonna tell y'all why. Let me read these statistics to you. Between 1910 to 1997, we have had stolen 16 to 19 million acres. We are now left down to 10% and dwindling, okay? 19% of black families have a negative net worth. That's 3.5 million black families that are so impoverished that even if you were to give them money, it will not bring them out of poverty. It will just be to try to get them out the hole. An additional 4.5 million black families have less than $10,000 a year in disposable income, okay? Right now, as we speak, COVID-19 came along and wiped out 50% of black businesses. But before COVID-19, we were slated as a community to head to zero wealth. COVID has come along and accelerated that. So, when you look at this data, I ask, where are our allies? I mean, I'm sure some of them are here, but where are they? And then I ask, where are our leaders? I don't know where they are, but I know where they should be, and they should be right here with us. Exactly. And then you look at these politicians with their 6-figure salaries. Now, the Republicans, okay, they suck. I don't know who's responsible for them keeping their job, but I know who's responsible for the Democrats, and I call them Democrats because they feed off of us while doing nothing for us. That's right. Guess who's responsible for them keeping their jobs? We are. For the past 60 years, the Democrats have existed off of the black vote. They will not exist without us. And yet we are heading to the point of economic and political extinction because of them. Now, when these issues are brought up, they come to us with excuses. When we say reparations is owed to descendants of American slaves, the people whose ancestors were promised but never received their 40 acres and a mule, they start what Tariq Nasheed says, splaining. They start to say, well, you know, we can't do any policies for you based on race. That's one excuse they like to say. Don't fall for it. Reparations is not done based on race. Reparations is done based on lineage and political status. Now let me give you some examples. The Catawba Native Americans in South Carolina, a tribe that was formerly enslavers, they just received 20 acres of land. 911 families, people who are family members, descendants of those killed during the 9/11 attacks, they get resources from the government. illegal immigrants right now as we speak receive billions of dollars from the government to clothe and feed for them. One estimate say they spend as much as $8 million a day feeding and clothing illegal immigrants. Ukrainians have received $60 billion, and as of yesterday, they've given them another $400 million. So when they tell us they can't do anything specific for us, do not fall for it. They do things specifically for everyone else, and right now as we speak, they're making more promises to other groups. If you have a child, and your child decides that he or she wants to be a she or a he, the Democrats are saying, hey, we can do that. Right now, our country has taken in over 5 million illegal immigrants since the start of this administration. That's putting a strain on resources on the state level, the municipal level, and the federal level. But the Democrats will say, hey, that's good, we can take them too. The Democrats will say that abortion is a black issue, that there should be nothing more important to us than aborting our beautiful black children. Exactly. And they have sworn to protect women's rights. But who the hell is protecting FBA's rights?
That's right.
Exactly. They say they can't do anything specific for us, but this nation has done specific policies against us for centuries, okay? Chattel slavery was done specifically to us on the municipal level, the state level, but even the federal level. The Fugitive Slave Act, the Dred Scott decision, okay? After slavery, we had Jim Crow, we had redlining. When slavery ended, we were not just freed, but as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, we was freed to hunger and famine and terrorism. Our black Wall Streets that we managed to build from nothing burnt to the ground. Now, I was in a conversation with someone who is from Haiti, and I love Haiti, a beautiful country. I visited there, and I have nothing against Haiti. But he was talking about how his parents, grandparents came here, and from nothing, they were able to achieve a middle-class life. And I said to him, should I be impressed? My people from nothing built not just one, not just two, not just 3, 4, 5, but over 50 black Wall Streets. I've never seen any other group do that. Give it up for our people. Give it up for our people. Give it up for our people.
Yeah.
So, this country, again, has done policies specifically against us. But when it's time for them to repair the specific wrongs they've done to us, now they want to tell us they don't see color. Now they want to tell us that we're all human beings. I don't give a damn what you see or don't see, but I know what I see. I see my people suffering every single day, and I'm sick of it. Sick of it. Now, I want to address some things here. We do have an issue in our community with people believing that the answer lies in us building an economic base. And who can argue against that? We do need to build the economic base. I support black businesses. I support group economics. But don't let anyone tell you that the government is not the answer, okay? When white America was filled with poverty and homelessness, do you know what this government did? In 1861, Abraham Lincoln signed the Homestead Act. They gave away almost 300 million acres of land to European immigrants, to white Americans, some who were former Confederates that fought against the nation. They gave them land while giving black Americans nothing but poverty, okay? $10 trillion given primarily to white Americans. When World War I ended and millions of veterans returned from overseas, there were plenty of white veterans that were impoverished and on the streets. When World War II started, the president at that time, Roosevelt, said, we cannot have a repeat of that. So do you know what they did? The GI Bill. that gave over $2 trillion to roughly 16 million white Americans, allowing them to become homeowners, allowing them to go to school, allowing them to get a pension. They did the Social Security Act. They did the Labor Union Act. There is no group in this country that has ever gotten the wealth they've had because they simply pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. Okay? Don't let them tell you they have. No. Japanese Americans are one of the richest demographics in our nation. They got reparations. Chinese Americans, when they first started coming here en masse, they came to finish the railroads that our people had already largely built. Remember that. But not only they were paid for their labor, but not only were they paid for their labor, they were giving land, which today are the Chinatowns. So, at that same time, we were getting land taken from us. The number one cause of lynch mobs was not false accusations against a black man, it was black land theft, okay? Always remember that. So when someone comes to us and they say the government is not the answer, tell them to shut their damn mouths, okay? The government is the answer. And when it comes to descendants of American slaves, freemen, which is our congressional term, or foundational black American, which is a social term, when it comes to us, now the government better be the answer because they sure as hell have been the problem. Now, we cannot and we will not accept any excuses from any politician. The Democrats will have you believe that if you vote for the Republicans, because I'm not a fan of either one, that our hope of reparations is never going to happen. Well, I say for the past 60 years, we've been voting for the Democrats. Y'all seen reparations happen yet? Okay. The answer is not to feel enslaved to any party. The answer is not to feel beholden to any party. The answer is to feel beholden to policy. Okay? Say it with me. Policy always, party never. Say it with me. Policy always, party never. Now, when we go to the Democrats and we say, hey, our people are suffering, our people are hurting, they all like to say, well, what about the Republicans? You ask the Republicans? That was really interesting to me. You tell us the Republicans are bad. We believe you. You tell us that the Republicans won't do anything for us, and we believe you. And then we vote for you. But then when we go to you to hold you accountable for our votes, you say to us, why don't you go to the Republicans? Because you just told us not to. If I go to McDonald's and I get a Big Mac, and my Big Mac is undercooked, what the hell do I look like going across the street to Burger King? You see, the party that gets the vote is the party that gets the smoke. Remember that. Now. You see, you're not going to have it both ways. You're not going to have it both ways where you get the vote, but you don't want to get the accountability. Okay? Also, let's deal with another lie. I heard Tariq and I heard a few people up here shut down some myths and rebuttals against reparations. But there's one that people like to say, well, we can't afford that. Let me explain something to you. If you borrow $50 from me and you say you're going to pay me next week, and I come to you to get my $50, is it my responsibility to figure out how you are going to pay? No. That's your problem. Okay? But the good news is, the United States of America is what we call a monetary sovereign, meaning they can generate as much currency as they need. Don't ever believe this government has no money. The America can never run out of money. The only thing that limits what America can spend is inflation. But even with that, check this out. People like to say if you put too much money into the economy, you'll cause hyperinflation. That is historically inaccurate. I'm going to give y'all 3 examples of when this government has spent the most money. Number 1, the New Deal. Roosevelt spent trillions of dollars to provide jobs for struggling Americans, to avert homelessness. And guess what it did? It saved the American economy and brought us out of the Great Depression. Number two, when President Obama got in office and we was going through the Great Recession, this government spent $29 trillion to bring our economy from the brink of another depression. Number three, this was more recent, when the COVID-19 came, Donald Trump spent over $3 trillion. You know what I didn't hear anyone say? No one asked, what about the debt? No one asked what about the debt when this country was sending stimulus checks not to descendants of American slaves, but to every single person. No one asked about the debt when this country sent trillions of dollars to businesses so they continue paying their employees. No one asked about the debt when this country doubled unemployment from 300 a week to 600 a week. No one asks about the debt when this country was spending trillions of dollars to not just develop the vaccines, but study and to distribute them. No one asks about the debt when this country bailed out the banking industry, the home industry, okay? No one asks about the debt when this country canceled hundreds of billions of dollars after World War I and World War II. This country has canceled debt before, but we ain't canceling ours. So before I wrap up, let me say to you, I understand no tangibles, no vote. I get that. I agree with that. But that's not enough. In order to get the tangibles, we have to run for office and be the candidates that's offering the tangibles. Okay? In order to get the candidate with tangibles in office, we have to support the candidate that's offering tangibles. And let me tell you, I have a message for someone. And Jay, please let me get this message out to this particular person. Roland Martin. I don't need to know for this one. Roland Martin, Bakari Sellers, Torre, all of them. They like to speak condescendingly to us when we say we deserve lineage-based reparations and policies. They like to say, y'all don't know how the government works. I say to them, we don't need to know how the government works in order to see that it ain't working for us, okay? The second person, Tommy Tuberville, a senator from Alabama who said that criminals want reparations. Excuse me? Criminals? The only criminal is a government that owes money and inheritance to its citizens and refuses to pay. And you're the criminal for running on a platform that supports it. Last but not least, Hillary Fordwich, a commentator for the British family. When Don Lemon, who sat there like a coward, asked her about reparations, she said to him that we need to start with Africa. Hold on, Africa? If you want us to start with Africa, then those of us who are African ancestry, you would have left us in Africa, okay? The moment you bought captive slaves from the continent of Africa, you took on the debt. It is the continent of Africa that received over 50,000 adventures between 1870 and 1940. It ain't the continent of Africa that when slavery ended, received over $42 trillion from black labor. It ain't the continent of Africa that poisoned our women, raped our people, fed our babies to alligators, imported our drugs into our community. It ain't the continent of Africa that we can go to Africa, we can go to Europe, but it ain't the continent of Africa to whom we belong. We already have a nation, and we're going to start right damn here, okay? It is this country. It is this country that owes us. It is this country that enslaved us. It is this country that has benefited from us. And damn it, it's this country that's going to pay.
All right. That was Marcel Dixon. My man, 50 grand. He said a lot, man. He said a lot. And he busted out a whole bunch of facts, no doubt. He talked about the political status and the lineage in regards to reparations. All right. That's what reparations is about. It's about lineage. It's not about race or slavery, because those are too much of a broad term to be using, because then anybody can infiltrate and be part of the reparations. All right. So it's a lineage. All right. He also talked about 911. He broke down how certain groups were still getting money, some of them still getting money to this day. And then when it comes to us being owed money, there's always some type of stipulation, there's issues, there's problems. They claim they don't have money, but then they turn right back around and something go off in Ukraine, the Ukrainians, and they give them money right off the bat. No questions asked, right? The same thing with the Latinos, Hispanics that's coming across the border, and they're trying to do a smoke screen and pretend like they're doing some type of immigration policy where they're not allowing them to come over the border. But we all know that's smoke and mirrors, right? So he talked about the 9/11 victims receiving money when the plane so-called hit the buildings, right? And there's still so much stuff behind that with the demolition way it fell, the buildings fell down, and people seeing the sparks when you have explosives set up in a building and you set them off, and then the building kind of one by one, you see the flashing of the explosives, and then the building comes down. So there's still a lot of controversy regarding the 9/11 attacks, right? But he said that the victims of that receive benefits. All right. Ukrainians received over $1 billion. And then more recently, they got about 400 million more. Right. But you claim they don't have no money for reparations. Right. All right. He talked about how many Black Wall Streets we created in America, where you might have other groups, other Black immigrants might say what they built in their countries or stuff like that. But yet, every time we build something in America, they send somebody in to trash it and tear it down, burn it, cause some type of disruption to it every time we come up. So that's the real reason why they really don't want to give us money that is owed, because they already know through history that foundational Black Americans, when they get finances and get money, they always build stuff up and it starts flourishing. That's the real. When you sit down and start critically thinking about things and breaking it down, all the excuses they come up with. They got to do the HR 40, I think it is, which is just a study of reparations. I guess they're going to try to put that back out again. So be listening for that. They're going to start saying, well, let's look into the HR 40 bill. They're going to try to bring that back up, which is simply a study to determine, or a study on reparations. They keep trying to throw these smoke screens and put these blockers in the way just so foundational Black Americans don't get what is owed to them. And like I said, through history, when you study Black history in America, you see that constantly Black Americans was flourishing, building stuff. They didn't wait if something, if they couldn't get something, they created something out of nothing. And so they understand that that's how we are. When you hear the term that we are very creative, look throughout history. That is a fact. That's not a lie. That's a fact. And so the people who would be in charge of giving up these reparations that is owed, these folks know what we can do with that money, and would change the whole landscape. So a lot of people were kind of still stepping away and getting in front of that. All right. So you guys let me know, man, what you think about this. My man Marcel got it in. And we got 2 more to go, man. All right. We appreciate y'all. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And yeah, this is part 13 of the Real Reparations movement. Y'all getting to see what the real reparations movements, tours, conventions, you can compare these with what you might have been going to and attending, or what you've been hearing about. All right. So with that being said, this is What's the 411 News, and we out of here. Peace. Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it.